What's going on, guys? So in this tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to create a professional looking navigation bar from scratch using HTML and CSS. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. So first of all, you're going to want to open Adobe Dreamweaver. I've already done that and I've already typed up the bare bones of a HTML document, as you can see. So first of all, we're going to add a title to our web page. So simply select between the two title tags and then type in anything you want, whatever you want the title of your web page to be. I'm going to call mine Professional Navigation Bar. So now we're basically going to link this web page to a CSS document, an external CSS document style sheet. So we're going to type link_rel equals and href equals and then / and angle bracket to close. The rel property is basically style sheet. This just basically says that we're going to be linking to a style sheet. The href is the link or the path, file path to the document, to the style sheet. So I'm just going to type in here style.css because that's what my CSS document is going to be called. Remember, you can call yours whatever you want, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to call my style.css for simplicity, and it always has to be .css, which stands for cascading style sheet, which is what we're going to be linking to. If your style sheet, for example, is going to be within a CSS folder, then you need to put css/style.css, for example. So file, save, and then we're going to create a new folder on the desktop, and we're going to call this website, simply. Then we're going to go into that folder that we've just created, and in here we're going to save this as index.html. Now remember, you can save this as anything you want, home.html, about.html, as long as it ends in .html it doesn't matter. I'm going to call mine index.html. Then, if you're in Dreamweaver, you'll see that style.css has appeared next to the source code, but when you click on it, there's no file located, because we haven't created one yet. So we need to go to File, New, CSS Document, double click, and then when it opens you'll see that this appears. Now we don't need this text here, we can delete that. Now if you ever wanted to add a comment in CSS, all you'd have to do is a / asterisk, and then you can type any comment that you want, and then close it off then with an asterisk and a / at the end. Now comments can be useful for reference later on and for notes as you're coding, and then you can type in the main code, as you can see there in pink, which is the colour that it appears as in Dreamweaver. So file, save, we're going to save it in the same folder as index.html, we're going to call it style.css. Remember, it has to be the same name as the one that you've stated in the link to the CSS file. Okay, so we can close that now, and as you will see, if you click on style.css next to the source code in Dreamweaver, the document has now appeared. Okay, it's successfully linked to the style.css, to our CSS file, the external cascading style sheet that we've just created. So now we're going to go into the body tag of the source code, and we're now going to create a div tag. Okay, then we're going to leave a couple of lines, close off the div tag with the /, and a div tag is basically an element, a HTML element, which allows you to add content within it. So basically we're going to add a class inside this div tag, so div class equals, and we're going to call this nav_bar. Okay, this is going to be our navbar div class. So this is going to be basically the main container, the container around our links for our navigation bar. So within there, we're now going to type an A tag. Okay, create an A tag, and this is basically a link tag. Okay, and close it off as well after. And this is basically a link tag. So we're going to put href within this A tag, and you'll notice that href is exactly the same property as we put in our link tag at the top when we link to the style sheet. So href just basically means link or file path to whatever page or website that we want. So you can put index.html, about.html, or you can actually put a website like YouTube that your link is going to link to, basically, because you need somewhere for your link to actually link to. But I'm just going to put a hashtag in there, which is just a default value because I don't want it to link anywhere just yet. And then in between the A tags, I'm just going to put home. You can put anything you want in there, whatever you want it to display. Then file, save, and you can preview this then in your favourite browser. I'm going to preview in Google Chrome, and then as you can see, the word home has appeared, and it's a link and basically when you click on it nothing happens, but you can see the hashtag does appear in the address bar, and obviously the titles appeared at the top and things like that. So that's all we've got at the minute, a link called home. Okay, so that's our first button, first link if you like. So now we're going to copy all this, copy the link, and we're going to paste it in another 4 times. Okay, as you can see. So now this has created 4 links. We're just going to rename each one. So I'm going to call this one about, I'm going to call this one news, I'm going to call this one feedback, and I'm going to call the last one contact, I think. Okay, so now we've got 5 different links. Okay, not linking to anywhere, you know, but we've created 5 links. You can obviously link them to whatever pages that you want as you create them, or any other websites, that's up to you. So file save and then refresh in the browser, and you'll see that now we have 5 links: home, about, news, feedback and contact, that you can click on, but as you can see they won't link anywhere at the minute unless you've actually linked them to a source. So that's it then. That's it now in the source code really for now. We've got our 5 links inside the navbar div. So we're going to go into the CSS now, and first of all, before we do anything, we're going to create body. Okay, we're going to style the body, which is the main styling of the whole web page. So just type in body, open curly brace, leave a couple of lines, close the curly brace, and this is where the body is. As you can see, the body tag in the source code, this is what we're targeting. Okay, so it's all of the body which we're targeting. So this is the main styles. So put background, colon, and then hash, ef, which is basically really light grey, very close to white, semicolon to close. Then we're going to have a margin of 0 auto, which will basically remove any default margin that the web page has around the edges. And then we're going to have font family Arial. This basically means that all the fonts in the entire web page, no matter what, as we create text, will always be Arial. Okay, throughout the web page. So file save, refresh in the browser, and as you can see now the background colour has changed, the font has changed for our text as well, and the margins around the edge of the web page have also been removed due to the margin being 0 auto in the body. So that's it then for the body. That's like the main styling for the web page. Now we're going to target our navbar. So dot nav underscore bar, open curly brace, leave a couple of lines and close the curly brace. Now the navbar, as you can see, is what we linked here in the div class. So where we put div class navbar, that's what we're linking to now, that's what we're targeting. And it's a dot. Remember to include the dot before the navbar. Whenever you have a class, it's always dot whatever in the CSS. If I had ID as navbar, for example, then the CSS would be hashtag navbar. But it's not, it's dot navbar because it's a class. It's a div class. And because it's a class that we're targeting, we need to put dot navbar in the CSS. So within this now, we're going to first of all add a background colour, and we're going to give it a sort of a lightish grey, but not too light. CCC. We're going to give it a border of 1 pixel, solid and black. It's going to be a black 1 pixel border. We're going to give it a width of 900 pixels for the whole navbar container. We're also going to have a margin of auto, which will basically centralize the whole of the div, the whole container, the whole element. We're going to add a font size of 22 pixels, so that's nice and big, easy to see navigation bar, because you don't want it too small, you want it to be able to stand out and people to notice it on your website. Then we're going to add a font weight of bold, just to make the text bold, so that again it stands out, it's, you know, very appealing, very attractive, is our navigation bar links. And then we're going to have text transform and uppercase. This will turn all of the text into uppercase letters, whether they're uppercase or not, which I think is always good, because again it makes it stand out a little bit better, and things like that. So we'll go File, Save, just to see what this looks like, and then refresh in the browser, and you'll now see that the div has now been centralized in the middle of the page. We've got a background color, a border, we've got our links in capitals now, they're bold. It's starting to look much more like a navigation bar now, much more professional and much nicer and appealing. But we're still a long way off yet from the final result. So we'll go back to the CSS coding now, and in navbar we're going to add some more styling. So now we're going to add some padding. So we're going to have a padding of 10px, 20px, 10px, 20px. Now I bet you're wondering what this means. Well, this basically means the top, the right, the bottom and the left. I remember it as north, east, south, west. So basically the top and bottom padding are going to be 10px and the right and left padding are both going to be 20 pixels. Okay? So yeah. But this means now with the width we're going to need to reduce it to 860 pixels because we have 20 pixels left and right, which adds up to 40, which we need to reduce off the total width for it to stay the same size in width, as you can see when we're refreshing the browser after we've saved it. And now it's got some nice padding. Okay, it's now looking a lot more professional. Okay, because we don't want the border too close to the actual links and too close to the text. You want a bit of padding in there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add a border radius. So first of all, we've got WebKit border radius, so dash WebKit dash border dash radius, and we're going to give it a value of 10 pixels. We're going to do the same again, but with Moz border radius, and then finally just border radius. This is so that it will work in all browsers, because some browsers, like Internet Explorer, it doesn't always work in if you just type in border radius. So give them all the same value of 10 pixels, obviously. File, save, and when we go back to the browser and press refresh, you'll see now that our navigation bar container has now got a nice rounded cornered border, as you can see, which makes it look much more smoother and much more professional and advanced. Okay, much more attractive. So it's really coming along now. We're going to go back into the code, and now we're going to add some more styling, and we're going to give it basically a text align of center. This means that all the text now within this navigation bar, as i.e. all the links, will appear in the center of the navigation bar. So file, save, press refresh, and you can now see that all the links now appear in the center of the navigation bar as opposed to just on the left hand side. Now you might like them on the left hand side, but for this tutorial we're going to centralize them because I think it looks much nicer and better. Okay, so now we're just going to add a margin top of 50 pixels. Now this is not necessary, but for this tutorial I'm just giving it a margin top of 50 pixels above of the navbar, so that it's easier to see the navbar, it's easier to see what we're doing and the styling and things like that, because we're only focused on the navbar for this tutorial. So when refreshing the browser you can just see now, I mean this isn't necessary, but you can now see it's just got a little margin above it of 50 pixels. Just to give it a bit of distance away from the top of the browser, from the search bar. So back to the code now, and we're going to style the links. We're going to start styling the link, because we've done really now with the navbar container. So we're going to put dot nav underscore bar space a space open curly brace, close curly brace. Now navbar is obviously the same as the container. A is the link, okay? Because if you remember, the link is the A tag. So we're targeting the A tag within the navbar. Okay, that's why it's dot navbar first and then A, because we're targeting only the link tags, only the A tags within the navigation bar, within the navbar class. Okay, we don't want all the A tags to be the same necessarily, so we're going to target the navbar first and then all the links within the navbar, if you get what I mean. So it's dot navbar space A space, open curly brace, leave a couple lines and close curly brace. So within here we've got two main attributes for any link that you ever create, and that's the colour and the text decoration. Okay? Because they're always default, and both of these always need changing in order to properly style any link. So we're going to give the colour a colour of black, the colour attribute of black, which is just 6 zeros, and the text decoration we're just going to assign as none. Okay, give the value of none, because we don't want any text decoration, we don't want any underlining or anything. So when we press save, press refresh in the browser, you can now see that the colour of the links have changed to black, and there is no underlining on each link. But they look a bit boring, because when you hover over them, they don't change colour, they don't do anything, they're just almost just like words, normal text. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a hover state. So underneath that, we're going to create .nav underscore bar space a colon hover, open curly brace, leave a couple lines, close curly brace. Now colon hover basically means the hover state. Okay, so this is when you hover over a link. So this is like a link hover, if you like. So we're going to get a colour of black still, but text decoration of underline. Okay, so this means when you hover over it, it will be underlined. So file, save, and you'll see what I mean. We'll go back to the browser, press refresh, and then when you hover over a link, you'll now see that it's underlined when you hover over it, as you can see. So that you know when you're hovering over that particular link, and visitors to your site know when they want to click on a link that they're hovering over that particular link, and it just makes it a bit more attractive and a bit more user friendly, really. So that's looking quite nice now, but we've still got a bit to go, I reckon. So within the navbar A, we're going to add margin left of 20 pixels and also a margin right of 20 pixels, and this will now add equal spacing between each link. Okay, because it's adding a margin between each of the links. So file, save, back to the browser, press refresh, and you'll now see that there's nice substantial amount of spacing between each link now. There's actually 40 pixels between each one because there's 20 pixels left and right of each link. So now they're nice and spaced out, easier to see, more user friendly, and more attractive and professional looking now, as you can tell. So now it's coming on really, really nicely. I think the only thing we could do with adding now is if we go back to the source code, and at the end of every link outside of the link tag, it must be outside of the link tag, press space and then just add, you can either add a /, a /, or you can add one of those vertical lines which you can find on your keyboard. Should be in the bottom left near the shift key, near the /. And basically, if I just move this back onto that line, that link onto that line, it will just put basically like a line or a separator, if you like, between each of the links. And I just think it makes it look a little bit better and a little bit more detailed. So if we go File, Save, you don't have to include these, but you can if you want. Press refresh in the browser, and you'll now see that each link now has a little divide separator in between each one. Okay, and it just makes it look more detailed, a bit more professional, and a bit more appealing and advanced. Again, you don't have to include these divide separators, but I think it looks quite nice sometimes. So that just about concludes this tutorial then. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this tutorial, or it helped you out in any way, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to be notified when I upload new tutorials in the future. I am uploading quite regularly at the moment, so stay tuned for new tutorials coming very, very soon. So yeah, bye guys.